I grew up with a lot of cartoons in my life. Some of them that still hold up even to this day. Even the ones that are educational, I still have nostalgic memories to them even to this day. But the one show that never really left my mind for a while was a show called Sonic Underground. Now, for those who do know, you might be thinking, oh, the one where Sonic has two siblings and they start a band and they defeat Robotnik some way. Dude, that show blows. Okay, I'm gonna stop you guys right there. While I don't think this show was great, or even my favorite show ever, I strangely enough became a fan of this show. But why? Well, before I do talk about the show, I do need to talk about where the show came from and how I got introduced to it. Sonic Underground is a 1999 series created by DiC Entertainment. In fact, it was the last Sonic show to be created by DiC. It didn't last very long, and it only lasted from 1999 to 2000. And it left on a cliffhanger, which I'm going to get to that. Here's how I discovered this show. I remember my family and I taking me on a trip to Gatlinburg for a Christmas parade. My family and I stopped at the Walmart and we decided to go rent some movies at the Red Box, which we only rented 2 movies. Impy's Island, which sucked by the way, and a DVD compilation of the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. After the show ended up showing a few trailers. The Legend of Zelda trailer, I think there was one for Sid the Science Kid, and of course there was the Heathcliff trailer. But the one that stuck me out the most was this.
Triplets born, the throne awaits. A seer warns of a deadly fate. Give up your children, separate. Bide your time, lie in wait. Sonic Underground, Sonic Underground. They made a vow their mother will be found.
Holy smokes, as a little kid, this was amazing. Sonic was one of the biggest video game characters at the time, and this is the show that kind of introduced me to Sonic, so I was kind of really excited to see what this character can bring me or how this show can introduce me to him. Some time went past, and when I came back to the Red Box, they actually had a Sonic Underground DVD called The Secret of the Chaos Emerald. I rented it, watched it, and fell in love with those episodes. So it actually kind of wanted me to watch more. However, as time would go on, I noticed how very little episodes there were. There were only 40 episodes, and this show never actually got a finale. It ended on a cliffhanger, which really pissed me off as a kid, and I just kind of avoided the show for a while. Okay, back onto the show. Well, I don't think it's the greatest thing ever, and I do think it does have its problems. I think this show deserves a little bit more credit than what it's given. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys 5 reasons as to why I think Sonic Underground is underrated. And yes, before anybody says anything, I have seen that other show called Sonic X, which I will talk a video on at some point in the near future. But for now, here are my 5 reasons. Number 1, the narrative. Sonic Underground surprisingly has a really strong narrative to me, but that's probably because I can relate to it a little bit more. Sonic Underground does teaches you about sticking together, family, how siblings can learn from each other and bond with each other in ways. The show sticks to the story pretty well, and the morals are very well put together. I think for some it is a little too complex, but for me, I think the show works when it's trying to do something different. On top of that, the show has a really good sense of mystery. I just love watching these 3 characters go around searching for their mother, Queen Alina, which, to be honest, is probably the reason why I kept watching the show, because her narrative and the way she introduces in each and every single episode is just so interesting to me. Number 2, the animation. The animation is not great, I will admit. Sometimes there are some animation errors, and yeah, sometimes the backgrounds look a little too flat. But if you really think about it, the animation for this show actually looks pretty decent for the time. I think the backgrounds look fine, although they are a little generic. Some of the movements are pretty solid. Sometimes the show can look good in some areas. For example, some of these backgrounds around these castles and the city and Robotropolis, it looks pretty gigantic and really interesting. It's got such a unique style. So While I don't think the animation is perfect, it's like some people were trying to make the show look good, even if some of it doesn't look great. Number 3. The villain. While I don't think Robotnik is my favorite villain of all time, especially in this show, he is very intimidating along with his 2 sidekicks, Slate and Dingo, which, strangely enough, are surprisingly really funny in this show. I mean, they're not laugh-out-loud funny, but they do have funny moments. And all 3 villains work very, very off of each other. They have great plans, their evil schemes are just great. Now, I do know a lot of people would compare this Robotnik to the Sad AM Robotnik, but the thing is, guys, I have not seen Sonic Sad AM. I'm just going to let y'all sit down and think about that for a minute. We good? Okay, let's keep going. Number 4. The characters. Sonic, Sonia, and Manic really work off with each other, and I like the conversations they have. I like how they work together. I like some of the side characters they meet, like Knuckles, Cyrus, Trevor, Queen Alina, which is their mother, which they do a very good role in this show. The Oracle of Delphius is a really good character. I like the villains. I like Sleet and Dingo. I like Robotnik. These are just really good side characters, and I like the interactions with all these characters. I mean, they're not emotionally deep or anything, but you could tell the voice actors that are playing them are actually trying to fit these characters, and these characters have a really important role. And for my 5th and final reason, some of the songs. Now, when I say that, I don't mean every single song. Some of the songs are very cringeful. Songs like Being a Kid is Cool, Fun in the Sun, Things Aren't Always What They Seem. They are awful. They're not the worst songs in the world, but they are not very good and well put together. They made no sense, their lyrics suck, they just went on, they're awful. However, songs like Someday, I Found My Home, Justice Calling, Teach the Children, Like the Way, Justice Calling, and even the theme song are actually pretty solid and are even sometimes fun to listen to. Are they great songs? Not by any means, but I think there is some value to them, and the novelty and the benefits they have do pay off some ways. My one more problem with the music is the music videos themselves. Sometimes they're edited in a way that's very, very uncomfortable. Like they have like these little sound effects, the weird effects. They're cool and all, but sometimes they can get a little bit too obnoxious, and I feel like they use them a little too much. So yeah, some songs are good, some songs are bad, so I'll just keep it from that. Now, in terms of the show's future, there were plans for an Archie Comics epilogue, but it never really got released or never even got made. And I think there was a campaign somewhere, but I can't really find it. So, overall, guys, I really like this show. I don't think it's great, and I don't think it holds up as well as some of the other Sonic shows. But I think this show deserves a little bit more credit than it's deserving, because there's a lot to this show. The animation, some of the characters, some of the songs, the narrative, the sense of mystery. I think it deserves a little bit more appreciation than what it gets. Do I recommend Sonic Underground? That's going to depend on your taste. If you like corny late 90s, early 2000s shows like me, you'll probably get into it a little bit more, but for those who love the Sonic games or the other shows, will probably not get into it as much. But if you are very curious, I say at least watch at least a few episodes. Also, I do recommend checking out Tamers12345. His stuff is weird, but also entertaining at the same time, considering that his is an epilogue of the show.
Think fast, but
That just happened. Though there is one thing I can never figure out. Whatever happened to Gail Webster, the voice actress for Queen Alina? She has not done anything ever since this show. I think she did great for this show, and it's a shame for someone like as talented as Gail Webster to not appear anything else ever since this show. So I hope she's doing okay at the very least. Now, if y'all will excuse me, I'm going to go join the resistance.
There's